Kia ora, and welcome to Constellations and All That. I'm your host, Tracy Cartwright, and together we will be exploring the world of family constellations with facilitators and clients from around the world, looking at different perspectives and experiences in the work, having a cup of tea and just chatting with some friends around their experiences in constellations. We'd love for you to join us. I hope that you enjoy this series as much as I have loved making it. Kia ora everyone, welcome to Constellations and All That. Today I have the pleasure of chatting with my friend Jacqui O'Connor. Hey Jacqui, how are you doing?
I'm great, thanks Tracy. How are you?
Great. And so as you know, I know you've listened to my podcasts or some of my podcasts, that I don't do a formal introduction. I invite my guests to share whatever it is that they want to share about themselves, who they are, where they're from, whatever comes up for you right here and now. So I'm going to hand it over to you so you can introduce yourself in whatever way you feel.
Thank you. I guess I'm a multidimensional being on living on this moving ball of energy, trying to navigate all the curveballs and the joys that it brings. I consider myself a visionary, a creative, a creatrix. And it's very soul-led, very community-driven, soul-led, and got lots of breadcrumbs that have led me to this point, I guess. I've come from a caring background, so I've been a registered nurse for 30 years. I've been a mum, I'm a wife, and I'm a hope merchant and a joy seeker. Yeah. Yeah. I love dancing, I love looking at beautiful things, and I love hanging out with people that smile. That's what I love.
Beautiful. How does being a multidimensional being, how does that fit into being a nurse? Like,
Yeah.
does it struggle
Yeah.
side of things?
I guess I've stepped out of the traditional role, and a part of what's probably attracted you to have me speak today is I've created Heart Place Hospital. So really creating an example of how we can still be these multidimensional beings, but in places where we're valued and where we can keep others warm without burning ourselves out. So yeah, it didn't fit. I didn't fit, and I tried for many decades to fit. And now I'm discovering that I belong. I know where I belong, and there's so many more people that are looking for places to belong. So I've created that soft, safe sanctuary of belonging.
Beautiful. Yeah. And as you're talking, I'm thinking, imagine waking up to your shining face if you've come out of surgery or if you're on a ward. It would have been just like a beam of light.
Yeah, I guess I mean I
Radiate so much energy. It's like, wow.
yeah. Thank you for saying that of me. Yeah, I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. And I guess I look back now and I think, gosh, how did I do it? Like working in those concrete buildings and
Mm.
with that sort of energy, I must have been an absolute freaking rock star to get through it. But I didn't think that at the time. So that was unfortunate. And I just didn't have any other examples or conversations. Now I do all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And that's why I just think it's just so important, this work. It's a ride or die for me, really. Because I just can see the ripple effect, like you say, imagine waking up, imagine being in a vulnerable position like that and having someone whose frequency's high and their energy's high and they're saying that, hey, I'm here to guide you and walk alongside you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Because for me, and this is way left of center from constellations, but being a seer and having that active all my life, the first time I ever had an operation, I was in my early 40s, and I woke up and I could see other things in the room. Some people would say it might have been the drugs I was on. Well, that might have helped me open to that, but the things that I was seeing in there, and I was saying to others, can you not see them? Like, you not see these? So it had opened me to another layer in that space. And so all the different energies is what I'm coming to, all the different energies that are in the hospital areas and stuff like that. I was just told the other day that Whangarei Hospital is actually built on a pa site. So that, a pa being where the community was, right? That would have been like the village site. And so there would be udapas and stuff there as well. And all of that has been cleared to make the hospital. And none of those there'll still be the residue of the energy that are in those places. But if whāngai is probably only one of many throughout the country and probably many throughout the globe that are built on sacred sites,
Mm,
time spaces that the energy is not always conducive to what is going on in the building. That makes
mm,
sense. Yeah.
mm.
Mm.
Well, I guess and you think about, the food that we feed, and even just the environments that it's set up, like it's very sterile, there's sort of not a very healing, bright,
Mm.
conducive environments. And then you think about the amount of people that come in and out, moving and in and out. And for us highly sensitives, that's a lot, that's a lot that we that end up sticking on us. And unless we have any idea of how to release those energies or those emotions that aren't ours, then then the people that are working there coming in and out. It's a busy train station.
Yeah, and that's when they need you, right? They need a space
Yeah,
like Heart Place Hospital.
yeah,
So
correct. Yeah, correct.
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, and we meet people where they're at. So if even talking about energy is really so completely foreign, we can meet you with, some self-care and support your nervous system so that you can start having those conversations. But if you're ready to tackle some mindset stuff, some limiting beliefs around, so often people are choosing their paychecks over their moral compass, over their own health.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we can help with that. And then if you're looking to craft a life that actually suits your human design and that you can show up as the most radiant being, multidimensional being, and
Mm.
do what you're here to do. And like I said, keep others warm without actually burning yourself out. But that's not a lot of our frontline workers are ending up needing help. But I'm really excited. I love sharing this part of the story, is that, half the people that we support, we call them visitors, not patients or clients, because bringing back the etiology of hospital is the welcoming in of visitors. Our visitors are coming now because they don't want to burn out. They actually
Yeah.
actually,
Wow.
yeah,
Before the ambulance at the cliff, right? Just kind of
yeah,
up on the cliff edge, but not on the
yeah,
bottom. Yeah.
yeah, which is super exciting. And then, yeah, our model is we have visitors that often turn into service providers, and then the service providers always stay as visitors. So,
Mm.
bringing it back to Constellation, all of us, it's a journey, right? So we've none of us have met the destination unless we're on the other side.
Yeah.
We've been rebirthed. Case in point, I still have a very active healing roundtable that I access, and we meet each other in partnership agreement. We meet with my expertise and then with their expertise, and that's really a real twist on
Mm.
our system, which is still very much, a lot of people are going in and wanting to be fixed, and those that are providing the support have a lot of them have mindset that they're the fixer. Yeah,
Don't you have a magic pill? Isn't
oh,
that the question that people often ask?
The
I
only
just have a
place,
magic
the only
pill.
place, the only place is your heart place, is what I tell everybody. Yeah,
Perfect. Yeah.
yeah, that's the panacea. I just know and feel, having been a frontline worker for decades, is that we heal one healer, and then you've healed a real big
Mm.
community. Our frontline workers are in front of 30, 40 of our most vulnerable citizens a day, and then when they go home to their families of multiple numbers, the ripple effect's just so much faster than in us if we're just putting TV ads out there saying, bring it back to yourself.
Good. Those things are good. Don't get me wrong, because
Yes,
that's the start for some people, right?
yeah, yeah.
Mm.
But when we're in front of someone who has that multifaceted knowledge, and they're our most trusted roles of people in frontline roles, in the
Yeah.
health and education. Any study will
You're
show.
talking doctors, midwives, nurses,
Yep,
specialists,
teachers. Yeah,
teachers, yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah. All those kind of sort of traditional
carers and
ones.
support workers and stuff like that. Is that?
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. So those who are doing in-home care, and those who are doing more natural modalities, so what you do, um, and, more Indigenous and innate wisdom modalities. So because I just really know, this is a knowing, that if we can be met with our needs, and everyone has different needs, then everybody's welcome. Yeah, everybody's supported, and
Because
really,
you feel seen, right? Because even though your needs are different to someone else's, it's like
yeah.
I can still belong even if I feel like I'm different. And
Yeah, yeah,
mm,
yeah. And even myself, like I've had huge transitions in the last year, and I needed different people in my corner and their expertise, and they could
yeah,
meet me where I was at, and it was exactly that. I was being seen, and that's like constantly when our visitors like just give us feedback all the time. Wow, I can't believe we found you. Can't believe we found you. And this is what I was looking for 9 years ago. I was looking for this. So every time I sort of doubt myself or imposter syndrome or anything like that, or kind of get overwhelmed, which happens, I just think about me 9 years ago, and I just keep thinking this is what I was looking for. And if someone had said, look, there's this lady, Heart Place Hospital, reach out to her, I would have reached out, I would have sprinted. And
I hear you.
yeah, yeah,
That's kind of why I'm creating what I'm creating because
yeah.
there was nothing.
Exactly, yeah. And I was similar to you. I had my first surgery at 4 years old, and I woke up from that procedure looking down on myself. And yeah, it was freaky, like I was 4, and then those things continue to happen, and I'm really passionate about us really giving people some space so that we don't actually pathologize and medicalize everything, that we can actually just go, huh, curious, that's interesting, and that could maybe that's something quite mystical or something that, unseen, and let's put it on the table, and let's not necessarily pathologize and medicalize you on this, because this is interesting. This is curious.
Mm.
Yeah.
Do you find that a lot of the visitors that come through struggle to ask for help?
I did. I'm finding them actually getting better and better. And I don't know, I think like a lot of them have been following my messages for a long time. And I can actually relate to this because I've done this too. I've followed people for a long time, then gone, actually, now's the right time. It cracks me up a lot. Like I think about how I've been speaking like this for several years now, and now it's becoming more normalized.
Mm.
So I did, and I was the same. It was really hard for me to ask for help, and I was the help. But I'm noticing a difference now that people
Yeah,
are
yeah.
asking for
People are
help.
starting to notice of themselves, right?
Yeah, I do. I do. And I just think it's becoming quite normalized that, like synchronicities and people feel it, are talking about feelings or being mindful or intuition. I'm finding that's just becoming more normalized. Whereas when I started in those things, I knew that's what I was experiencing, but I had to really dig around to find anything, podcast, a book, or anything
Mm.
around that. But I think the communities are growing, and I feel it's happening because it is really challenging to get into your GP. It's really challenging to be seen. I mean, in New Zealand, our waiting lists week like like a year long, if you're lucky to get on the waiting list. So there are some,
Well, the hospitals and stuff.
yeah, there are that's right.
Even to get in to see a doctor, I think it was 8 weeks.
Yeah,
See a
yeah.
doctor. So
So people are getting curious now. They're like, okay, so I can't get into my GP, and I know that if I do, I'm going to want to leave with a prescription. Am I seeing healthy people with prescriptions? No, I'm not. Am I seeing healthy people, for example, you and I, showing up, who are talking quite differently about how to heal boundary wounds, how to advocate for ourselves and others, and how to craft that life that really truly suits our human design. And so people are getting curious. I'm finding people are getting curious.
the flip side of that for me too is that through this work, and I've just shared it on my last interview, I'm going in for a medical procedure.
Hmm.
Now, the flip side of that is that I would have fought this and fought it
Hmm.
till, like I did with my gallbladder, till it was shredded and there was nothing left
Yeah.
to deal with. And literally, the doctor was like, "This is completely shredded." but the shift in whatever's, it's kind of like that asking for help, but in a different way. Something
Mhm.
shifted for me that is saying, okay, now is the time that you can align because this is an injury. I can get in quicker for a start,
Mhm.
but it's a way that I can say yes to it in a different way to, I'm wanting this to fix me.
Yeah.
This feels like I'm working through the emotions and the energetic side of things that have created this.
Yeah.
And then on a physical level, this is going to help with the other parts of it. So it's like you're saying, people are shifting, people are looking for something different. And I've always been on the alternative route, and I've gone, hey, actually, I think I'm going to go the medical thing here.
Yeah, and
There's
that's what I say
actually,
with Heart Place Hospital, we're integrative.
yeah.
So, yeah, like there's, there's amazing things in traditional health. And I always say, like, if I have a car accident and my arm gets ripped off, like, I don't want to be thinking happy thoughts and having a pedicure. I want medication. I want a surgeon.
Oh, my arm's going to grow
Yeah,
back.
yeah, yeah. But
Which
that's where
eventually
the
it could, but
that's the integrative care comes in, right? So you've got all these amazing tools and you're going to be able to integrate everything and I bet you anything that, your recovery is so much faster and so much slicker and
I said to the doctor when we were booking, I said, oh, so what sort of music do you listen to? Because he goes, oh, why is that? I said, well, can I choose the music that you listen to while you're operating on me? He goes, oh, it depends. Oh, what it is. I said, well, it won't be death metal. But, he goes, well, you can have whatever you like to listen to while you're going under.
yeah,
Otherwise, the anaesthetist chooses the music. So might have to have a word with that anaesthetist.
yeah, that's right. Yeah. Hey, my body, my choice. Isn't that what we're telling our kids? So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But nice to know that there's those, I had a voice to say that,
I
like I had
know.
the voice to say that.
Yeah.
Years ago, I would never have dared to
No,
say
no, no,
that.
no, 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 no. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. And I mean, that's part of my journey. I had surgery as a child, I had open heart surgery as a child. And, it's very much, there was no body autonomy or sovereignty or
Mm.
consent.
Mm.
And so, yeah, I've carried that. I've had to really shift through that. And that will be constant. That'll be a constant onion layer of mine. But, we're the bridges. We're the bridges. I was meant to experience that so that then I can show up in my more wisdom years and create solutions. And I'm a really solution focused. Like I'm just not even available. I'm just not even, can't even put any energy into fixing the old. I'm just here to create the new. And it's exciting. I think it's just really exciting times. And I just keep adopting this energy at the moment is just sitting up in that eagle's perch and watching the pantomime unfold and just keep watering the bamboo shoots. So that bamboo, which, bamboo, once it shoots, it just
Mm.
multiplies. So it's really
There's so
exciting
many
to be
good
part.
things you can do with bamboo, right?
Yeah. And it's really exciting to be part of the grassroots revolution. It's not our first rodeo. We've revolted in the past, so we're back. Yeah.
How does, because I know you have sponsors
Mhm.
that support you. How
Mhm.
does that work for those who want to understand how they
Yeah.
can sponsor, how they can support Heart Place Hospital?
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for asking. So we have fully registered charity, and our model is very feminine focused. So it's a very circular economy. So we have, like I said, the visitors, we have the service providers, and then we have our donors or supporters. So our service providers are contracted, so they're under the umbrella of Heart Place Hospital, and every time they serve any of our visitors, then sometimes that's funded. We've got funding available. Sometimes it's self-funded by the visitor, and the service providers donate back into the charity. So a real circular economy. The visitors can self-pay, or we receive fundings from grants and fundraisers. We've got some Southern Cross funding and some EAP funding. So that's how we can do some supporting there. We're always open to partnerships. So that's part of my role as a philanthropist is connecting in and creating opportunities for partners. And then we also write grants as well. So we apply for grants and that's how we also support ourselves. And yeah, just got big vision. So Heart Place Hospital will be is known as Kids Can, if you're listening to this from New Zealand, which is one of our biggest children charity, or Gumboot Friday. So they all started as non-government organisations, so or not-for-profits, and now they're getting supported by the government. So we're collecting data so that we can go to the government and saying, hey, we care for one carer, and that ripple effects out to at least 30 people a day. So we're collecting that data as well. So yeah, big dreams. Haven't come this far to come this far.
Do you see yourself in multiple places, or where you
Well,
are?
well, definitely already we're already energetically right throughout New Zealand, but we're already talking to people in Australia who want to model Heart Place Hospital there and in the States as well. So yeah, the world domination, yeah. So really creating a
Through
space
the
where
heart, world domination through the heart.
yeah,
Wow.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I'm here for it. So yeah, I just, every making sense of my life makes
Yeah.
sense now. If I look back on all my breadcrumbs, I'm like, now that makes sense.
Mm.
Yeah. And I want that other people to have that aha moment, that eureka moment as well. And yeah, and it's happening. People are realizing, oh, actually I've got a choice. And actually, hey, you know what? Life is for joy and fun and
Mm.
love, and I've got a choice here. I can either sit in this story, or I can start following these other people who are really stepping up and like you said, starting to learn that we've got a voice. Yeah, and I was just saying, there's no way I would have spoken up, whereas now I know how to speak up from heart, and
Mm.
I really understand my boundaries and my energy. I've really dismantled a lot and unlearned a lot, in place remembered a lot. And that's I'm seeing that everywhere now. Like people everywhere are starting to go, oh my God, like
This
I've
is,
let go
yeah.
of that. Yeah.
This is what I'm loving about Heart Place Hospital too, is the reminder. It's also a lot like Constellations in that it's coming back. It's coming back to community. It's
Yeah.
coming back to finding place of belonging and putting things in order of, so you could put it in order of lineage or a hierarchy, but also in order of priority, right? To
Yeah.
bring in the balance. So it's very on par with Constellations
Very
as
aligned, yeah, very
aligned.
aligned,
Yeah.
yeah. And
Yeah.
then and the same with all our service providers, very aligned, yeah. And many of them, our service providers originally traditionally trained and had their Mac truck moment, what I call it, and have brought in cutting edge modalities, which you'll find your facilitators, right?
Mm-hmm.
They would have brought it, stumbled across your modalities. They've potentially come from traditionally trained roles and gone, actually, it's not quite, doesn't quite fit.
Mm. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, so totally aligned, and all our practitioners, oh, they're just phenomenal, like just like you, Trace, like just so generous, and anytime I get a bit of a sticky one, I'm like, hey, this is what's happening. Are you interested, would you be interested in supporting us on
Yeah.
this? And it's been epic. It's been so cool. And the ripple effect of that, really giving value and care to our carers. I mean, it's just it's like pure panacea to me. I just like an
Mm.
absolute freaking no-brainer. Yeah, and we're all like, regardless, even if you can think of the worst person ever, like underneath, ultimately we were all born, and
Yeah.
yeah, we're all born for a purpose, and sometimes their behavior is to show us how we don't want to behave, and gratitude of showing us actually that's not how I ever want to show up in the world. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
And recently we just had our big immersion here in New Zealand for Aotearoa New Zealand Family Constellations for our immersion. And we were lucky enough that you were able to support beautiful midwife to come along
yeah,
to be
yeah.
part of it for us, which I saw her transformation.
Oh,
You could
amazing.
see her burnout and she was radiant
Amazing.
by the end of
Yeah.
it, and it had received so much. And we're so grateful that you were able to support Heart Place Hospital, and yourself were able to support her in coming along, because that was
Ah, pleasure. Yeah. Yeah, that was amazing. Like she couldn't even really speak to me. And I just said to her, look, it's done. It's all sorted. And you could see even before she came to your event that, just those kind of actions were You
Mm,
know it yourself, you know, right? When you decide you're going to do something, that transition starts straight away, that
mm.
transmission. Yeah. So
Absolutely. And she had a
our
beautiful,
pleasure. Our
yeah,
pleasure.
actually had a beautiful friend supporting her who, when I spoke to her and I'd said, how did you hear about us? And she said that she'd listened to the conversation that you and I had had on Heart Place Hospital, oh, I don't know, 18 months ago, maybe. We had
A year ago, I think.
it's
Yeah.
a year ago.
Yeah, yeah.
We had a podcast conversation.
And that's
So,
what I love. What I love about our podcast, actually, our podcast series is that as visitors come in, I actually we create care plans for them. We pop the podcasts in for the people that we think that would be relevant to them, so that they can start making their own. They can
mm,
start feeling that sovereign being. Actually, you
yeah,
know what? I really do resonate with that person. So those podcasts keep on giving. They're not just sort of archived, a year ago.
yeah,
They keep on giving. Yeah.
powerful stuff. Hey,
Yeah, really
yeah,
powerful. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I feel like we're the conduit. I feel like we're the yellow pages, like this umbrella of possibilities for people.
mm,
And you really nailed it on the head. When we can start advocating for ourselves and other people can start feeling brave and seeing actually, oh gosh, she's not yelling. She's not
mm,
asking for much. Like she's actually speaking to me human to human here. And if we can start seeing some examples of that, then the ripple effect of that is massive. And when we're very, 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 like all of us, very intuitive. So we know we've got that gut, all those generations of not having a voice, we just haven't been able to speak
yeah.
out to it.
And
So
remembering the world teaches us to not, or to not to remember. Yeah,
yeah, we've been very colonized, and there's a whole bunch of us. And when even I say that word, I just see us all on horses meeting at dawn. But we don't have to meet at dawn if you like to have a little sleep. And I just see us on horses and really decolonizing, or really changing that and bringing us back to that innate wisdom. And that's what Constellations is bringing us back to, is that innate knowing of where we do belong and where we fit in. And I think, for me and for you, we're bridges. We've had big lives, big beings are here who have had big experiences, um, and we can now alchemize those experiences into supporting others and saying, hey, we're the bridge. There's another way, there's another way. And it's integrative. There's not another way. It's all in together. And I think there's no right or wrong. I feel like there's alignment and misalignment. And that's why I brought up that, that I am multi-dimensional. Sometimes it's aligned and then the next week it's misaligned. Like it happens that quick. And that's okay too. But it's just building more and more examples, having more and more people having these experiences and showing up and being examples or being models of this type of living. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Because in our multidimensional being self, part of it's human, right? And sometimes we don't always
Correct.
get it right. So that's okay.
Yeah, correct. And I mean, just as an example, like I've spent many of the last 9 years on my mindset, on my spiritual energy, and then just recently, just on my physical vessel. And yeah, like every time, just such an upgrade. Now, just things are flowing so much better because things are way more in alignment. And yeah, and that just didn't come into my stratosphere until recently. So this is how freaking amazing we are. Like, we get these amazing messages or inspiring, but it just blows my mind.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And when we're just no different to the bees, the trees, the leaves, the sea, the ocean, and if you're listening to this in New Zealand, if you're listening to this from in Northland, our nature has been having a big clear out and
Mm,
a big blowout and a big clear out. And I just look at it now and I just in awe and just think it's all wonderful, all fabulous and wonderful. And that's what I said, I just feel such joy when I'm dancing, looking at beautiful things and being with people that smile.
speaking of dancing and
Yeah.
beautiful things, now you had an experience recently. Your husband is a DJ, and you were doing something down in the, what do you call it? The,
Silos.
the viaduct in Auckland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Share
Yeah.
with the audience about that, because that was
Yeah.
cracked me up. I was like, of course that
I
Jacqui
know,
and
right? I know,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So funny. Yeah, so we'd been the week before and I was sort of like, oh yeah, yeah, I'll go and help Sean out. He's an ecstatic dance DJ and a DJ. and I just had the best time. Like we did a morning static dance. We wrote it's in the silos, 6 silos, and it's been turned into a temple for 6 weeks. Please go down if you can. It's open till the 26th of April. Maybe you've missed this if you're listening to this late. But it's phenomenal. Hopefully they do it again. And I absolutely adored it. I spent out the whole day there. We had the roller door up, sun was shining, people were walking past. We were totally raving, and people were smiling back. And I thought, yeah, this is the reason that I'm here at this time is to lift the vibration, and we certainly did that. And so then we're like,
Shining light.
yeah. And then I thought we got to come back. So we came back full moon the following week. So we did a nighttime one. And to begin with a static dance, if you don't know a static dance, it really is a healing modality. I always think about dance, it's a little bit like your iCloud storage, and it gets to full, and then you dance and you actually create space for more storage in your iCloud.
Like
And
that
so,
analogy.
yeah, me too. Yeah. So I just adore it. I just think it's amazing. You can dance, you could, like, if you've got sore shoulders, you can dance with your sore shoulders, like if you've got a pain in your heart or feeling grief, you can dance with your heart, so it's
Quite good
just
to close your eyes, eh? Because then you don't have to see everyone. You can get out of your head and into your body.
totally, yeah. And the more you go, like, so I encourage people to come. And we actually had we had our kind of normie mates come. We invited them all, and some of them actually came. And they were all like, oh, that was so amazing. And so it is a real auric journey. So it takes you, similar to yoga or a class like that, where you start sort of with the slower exercises, and then you ramp it up, and then you bring it back down to savasana. So same with static dance, you start off a little bit more slower, and then you ramp it up. And anyway, we're sitting in circle because it is a healing modality with intention. And one of the organizers of the temple, she said, oh, I'm really feeling like we're calling in galactic energy here. And I'm, of course, going, yeah, we're totally calling in galactic energy. And so we start dancing, and then Lee Harris walks in. So I don't know if most of your listeners will know who he is. So he's a global medical intuitive from the UK, lives in America. And he was in New Zealand to do his one show only, Big Love, on his Big Love tour. And so he walked in, and part of a static dance is that you don't speak. Very much, an individual healing modality, and you can smile at each other. And so I smiled at them, and I just indicated, take your shoes off and come in and dance. So they did, and then they did a Instagram story right outside the silos. And so I messaged him, and we messaged back and forward probably about 10 times, and he just said, tell Sean it was awesome, it was epic, and I've got a couple of tickets for you guys to come to the show. So Sean and I went to his show on Wednesday night, and yeah, so we got to dance next to Lee Harris. There you go.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
What does
And
it get any better than that,
I
eh?
know, and it was like, it wasn't a real like girl fan moment or anything. I was like, of course, like a global.
And Davor was with him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Devil was there. Yeah, he danced
yeah.
as well. Yeah, he's a cool guy. Yeah, and they just amalgamated into the crowd and danced, and I thought it was just equally classic. 2 of Sean's songs were about aliens as well. So yeah, we we definitely called on the galactic energy, and yeah,
Oh,
it was cool. And I just super blessed, really blessed. Like I think it's about keeping things really simple, and like I said before, really like soul-led and community-driven, and that's all that matters.
beautiful. Yeah. Yeah, that cracked me up because I'd seen that you'd put on that you were doing a static dance down there, and then I saw Lee's thing about going to an aesthetic, and I was like, hey, wait, what? And then you put up that he'd come in. I was
I
like,
know.
wow,
I
of
had heaps,
course.
I had heaps of friends go, hey, you know how you invited me to the aesthetic dance? Was Lee Harris there? I was like, yep, he was. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was cool. It was really cool. Yeah, it was a really cool, like when sometimes you're just like, what are we doing here? What's happening? Like crazy kooks going and dancing in silos, and then you get that really,
And
that
then it
sign.
reminds you, right? There's someone like Lee Harris who's doing this global work, and Lee and Davor, and they're traveling and they're spreading the messages that they're just at the same time, they're also human, and they want to
Super
be
ordinary.
just
Yeah.
received normally, and to be able to have fun without having, yeah, people
And this
Um,
is the ripple effects, right? So Sean, my husband, he'd not heard of them. And so he came, he's like, I said, you got to check it. So he came and just the ripple effects. He's like, oh, remember when Lee said this? And I was like, yeah, he did say that. Well, what about, I'm just mentoring what Lee said. And I thought, yeah, this is like, this is not just middle-aged women waking up. This is pale
mm,
male, stale males who are also like getting the message. I'm curious, like with your last event, did you have many men come along?
we had more than last time,
Yeah,
but still a very low comparison to the women. But there are more coming.
yeah,
The doors are
yeah,
opening. So yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Mm.
And that was Lee Harris. It was mostly midlife woman there, and like yeah, surprisingly no sort of real 30 or 20-year-old woman. It was more midlife woman and a sprinkle of men. But I just thought, yes, I'm just stoked that I could get Sean along,
Mm,
and yeah, people have gone, oh, what did you think? Like guys have said, he goes, actually, I really enjoyed it. I got something out of it.
very cool.
Yeah.
Back to our conversation around that I just
This
had
is
to add
great.
it. Like I was thinking, how am I going to add that into this
Yeah,
conversation?
yeah,
I
yeah,
wanted to share that,
yeah.
but I was excited for you guys
I
and the
know.
fact that, like it's frequency too, isn't it? It's all about,
Totally frequency.
and
Nothing
also that
but
frequency that
frequency.
you will have been creating down there at the viaduct, because it's, it's non-alcohol
Mhm.
and um, it's all about bringing in the joy.
Yeah.
Yeah, finding
Yeah.
that in alignment for yourself.
Yeah. And we had, like I said, we invited people and it wasn't, it's not their norm. And they were all buzzing afterwards. Yeah, back to frequency. It's down to frequency, right? When you're high vibing, then it just ripple effects off. And same with the opposite, when you're in a low vibe. But that's why I just think it's so important that we have Heart Place Hospital so that our frontline workers are high vibing.
Yeah, and it can be that when you're in the, and that's the same with constellations. It brings people that are looking for that other vibration
Yeah.
or that next layer, right? Peel back so that I can be a lighter and still not exactly throwing the low vibe out, but seeing what's there with it. What's
Yeah.
that? And then
Totally.
lifting that.
But it's a bit of an addiction, like you're like, oh, okay, this is cool. What's next? Like it's like, oh, okay, Lee Harris, then who?
Was like to see your list.
Yeah, that's right. I know, right?
Or maybe the universe has made a list and hasn't told you yet who's
Yeah, I just picture golden bridges. Golden bridges, yeah.
beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah.
So Heart Place Hospital is based at your
Property,
space.
yeah. So yeah, we've got a property in Mangawhai in Northland, and so we've got a physical hospital here. So we do satellite clinics, workshops, accommodation, but we're more about energy. We'll meet people where they're at. So if they're ringing from Invercargill and they've got a service provider that they feel connected to, then we'll make that happen. Yeah, some people, actually a lot of people, just with the triage and being seen and then getting their care plan, they're like, wow, this is amazing. Like the shift is massive. Not everyone necessarily needs to be going to a workshop or a satellite clinic or having accommodation, but it's all on offer. So it's bespoke. I think that's super, super important in healthcare because we've all had different environments and experiences. So one size fits all, which is what I was offered 9 years ago. And I remember standing there going, is this it? Is this it? And it was, that's all it was. So rather than get mad about it, I got even.
Got even better.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like in our worlds, it's butterfly talk, right? We're just like, okay, we've been the caterpillar, we've fattened up, we've been through the chrysalis, we've been through the go of that chrysalis. We're now the butterfly. Let's get on with it. Let's
Mm,
create the solution. And science all backs it. And the impact and the testimonials and the feedback and the evidence that we get is like just off the Richter scale. Yeah.
yeah.
And going back to we are what nature is. So, if we're well, then nature's well, Earth's well. And it's a no-brainer. So we're just in this amazing, like monumental historical time, like, equivalent to Nazi Germany times. Our grandkids, their kids are going to be talking about this time. We're actually loving it. We're actually experiencing it. We're on the conveyor belt right now. It's happening right this second. And how freaking amazing is that?
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I've been to your place numerous times, and you have a space for workshops, you have a beautiful property, and the outlook is amazing. So just even going, like
Mm.
if someone was to stay, so you said you've got accommodation?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
We've had nurses this year. We've had nurses straight from psychiatric units. So psychiatric unit nurses who've ended up in psychiatric units. So we've had them straight from there and rehabilitated them and provided them healing and a soft, safe land. And then we've also had beautiful young people, highly sensitive people who have these amazing modalities to share, but they don't want to go into the system and have to experiencing burnout to get the message. So we're able to work with them, do lots of heart storming and start creating a sustainable living for them so that they can share the modalities that they're so passionate about and so, expertise. And, like some of these young people, they've been doing these modalities before just because they've got the certificate now. But it doesn't mean, they've done it in another lifetime and the remembering is just so phenomenal. So yeah, we're spectrum, very spectrum. And we love talking about spectrum, we love neurospicy people because they're the seers, right? They're the change makers. And so we create that soft, safe land so that they can actually go, oh, actually, I don't have to work in that model of Monday to Friday because my energy doesn't work in that model. And, if I can find some work that I can do that I get paid to get the job done rather than time for money. So, and then there's just phenomenal ways of creating multiple ways of receiving income that more and more people are discovering. And I really think they're quite a feminine model that everybody receives, everybody shares, everybody receives, and everyone's can experience, our birthright of abundance. But yeah, once again, lots of unlearning and lots of remembering around, we're not broken and we don't need fixing. And yeah, I've always, the last 9 years, I've been really passionate about the feminine energy. So particularly around our rites of passage. So birth, menarche, menstruation, sexuality.
Yeah, when I first met you, I remember you were doing some work with teenagers around menstruation, and I was like, oh my Lord, if only I'd had that as a teenager. Or my children, if I'd known what I could have, at the time. Yeah.
I know. I was 46 so I've been a nurse by then. I've been a nurse for 25 years and been menstruating for 30 plus years. And I learned about the power of the menstrual cycle, and I just sat there with my mouth like on the ground and thought, I've got to do something about this. So I created Period Power, and interestingly, I haven't touched it for a year or two, and it's resurfaced. Period Power is resurfaced. I know she's coming back. So I've just been invited. I did one on the full moon last week, and then I've been invited to a couple of homeschool groups with mothers and daughters, and I love it. I just love sharing that truth. Yeah, wisdom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Opens up to a deeper knowing, doesn't it, of ourselves and our power.
And then you just can't unsee the fuckery. You just cannot unsee it. Once you learn the menstrual cycle, the power of the period, you cannot unsee it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Powerful stuff, Jacqui.
Yeah, super powerful. And, I just really passionate about reducing the iatrogenesis, which is the pathologizing, medicalizing of literally us being humans. So I will do make my part of the world beautiful, and hopefully those ripples, I know those ripples, they're already happening. The ripples just ripple off, and then other people want to make their corner of the world beautiful. And if we can all do a little corner of the world, then wow, what a world. So cool.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. We can make a tsunami if we have enough ripples.
I know. Like we've survived cyclones and tornadoes and
It doesn't have to be I think we think of tsunamis as, they're devastating, but they're also creating a new pathway.
clearing. Yeah.
moving stuff, moving that stagnant energy. Maybe just, we'll just leave the devastation out of the way and
Well,
create a
we're
type of
energetic
environment.
beings. We can create, any sort of vortex. I know when we were driving home the other day, it was real windy and raining, and I just pictured this big energetic vortex around our vehicle staying solidly on our side of the road, and we got home safely. So look how amazing we are.
Yeah. Yeah, we are amazing beings, aren't we?
Yeah, yeah.
The things that we can create and do to get to that
We're
others.
phenomenal. We're absolutely phenomenal. And start letting go of the fuckery, and then you just you can't unsee the magic. Yeah.
There's a t-shirt for you.
There's a t-shirt. There's a trucker hat.
Let go of the fuckery. See the magic.
Yeah, I've got a few. There's a few of me. More today, less taboo. No more fuckery, no more fakery. Yeah.
Nice.
There's a few of me.
Yeah. Yeah. How would people find you? If they're looking for you, how are they going to find you?
Oh, just look for the ray light. There'll be a heart in the sky.
Oh, like
Look
Batman.
out. Yeah, that's how you'll find me. Everything's Heart Place Hospital. So website's heartplacehospital.org.nz, in Instagram, Facebook. You can even look up Jacqui O'Connor on Facebook. I'm all open, wide open, and LinkedIn and YouTube, Heart Place Hospital. And our website is okay. It doesn't quite keep up with our the pace that we morph. So you get the gist, but we're way more than what our website tells us. Yeah.
Beautiful. And have you got any events? Because sometimes you've hosted me. I've been to you a couple of times. We've done drum, and we have had constellations. So what events have you got coming up?
Thank you for asking. What have I got? So we've got an ecstatic dance on May the 4th. May the 4th be with you. Sunday, May the 4th.
At Heart Place?
Yeah, Mangawhai. Got dance every Wednesday with a dance practitioner. We've got May the 17th, we've got EFT workshop in Auckland. And on May the 30th, we've got a power hour. So we do a power hour online every couple of weeks at lunchtime. And that's with Jane Catherine Severn, who's like my menopausal muse. Got that coming up. We've got Glitter and Grief with Ali Bambry on the 17th of June in Mangawhai. And then I think we've got about 50 service providers. So anything from rongoa medicine, so plant medicine, to Māori healing, to EFT, havening, so talk therapy, but with sort of cutting edge modalities involved in them. You guys, with family constellations, we've got a beautiful naturopath who's actually also a pharmacist, so you get that beautiful whole person support. We've got lots of nurses who have got cutting edge modalities, who are now health coaches or mental health coaches. We've got doctors as well who do whole person care. And then we've got lots of products. So lots of products and lots of services. So just a couple I'm thinking of is like the Biodetox Foot Spa. So releasing any of the sort of toxins, pathogens through your skin. Also got Flow Espresso, which is this amazing far infrared suit that also massages your entire body. So it's
a what suit?
Far infrared.
Oh, that's not what I thought you said.
Did you think I said fart?
Yes.
What did you say? Oh, okay. You would fart in there. It actually massages your body simultaneously, and so it's designed for lymphatic drainage. So I've been in it a couple of times, and you literally urinate out all these toxins afterwards.
Is that at your place, or that's
No, it's near here though. Yeah, one of our service providers. What else? And so if people stay here, we've got an infrared sauna and cold plunge and gym and foot spas and garden to table foods. So really turning healthcare into a healing healthcare as opposed to the reactive sick care system that we often see. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Jacqui.
Thanks.
Love what you're bringing to the world and all that you share, and so amazing.
Thank you so much. So are you. Back at you.
Well, I think this is a good place to leave it here for today. And I'm grateful that you were able to come and share your time with me. It's always amazing to chat with you. I love your light and your radiance and all that you're bringing to the world. So thank you so much, Jacqui, and I hope the listeners have received so much juicy wisdom and knowing that there is help out there. There are places you don't have to be floundering. Get in touch with Jacqui at Heart Place Hospital.
Sounds good.
Thank you for listening. Head over to Instagram and tell me what's resonated for you with this episode. You'll find me at tracy.cartwright. That's Tracy with no E. .cartwright. Or head over to my website, tracycartwright.co.nz, and receive a free audio with the gift from your ancestors. So until next time, be kind to yourself and have fun doing it.